Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Hello out there in Radio Land. This is Hank Hill, Assistant Manager, Strickland Propane. Come on down to Strickland where you can get a great deal on the new Char King 320 propane grill. We have other propane grills and propane accessories for your grilling needs. So come on down. Mention this ad for an extra 5% off of your next propane tank fill-up. That's Strickland Propane, Harlan, Texas. Have a great day.
Bwaaa! Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to
Bwaaa.
a King of the Hill Rewatch podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty. Still Rusty.
We are almost to the end of the season here, man.
Yeah, so
Season 2, episode 22.
Season 2,
God, the
episode
mic came off
22.
again.
Yeah, the mic came off again.
So
I might just have to move mics.
we're having this issue in the studio where the mic keeps falling off the
Keeps falling
the
off. Well,
threaded-
I'll just hold it for now. We're good for
No.
here.
You can switch mics.
Let me switch mics here.
Switch over. We're gonna keep on talking. So yeah, that one's not on.
Is
but
it not on?
It's not on.
You go turn it on.
That's okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah, this is you're getting a little bit of behind the scenes of Bwaaa. So the mic fell off the microphone stand. I don't know if that's a harbinger of doom or what that would be. I believe that's number 4 that you want to turn on. Go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna hit the mic. Number 4, turn number 4 up. I think he may be on number 4. There it is. You got it. You did it. Congratulations. Yeah, we're cutting this out.
All right, so hopefully the volume's good enough.
It's a harbinger of doom.
Yeah, at least I don't have to move too far. I'll just scoot it to me. I'll just make the mic work for me today. Hello. Oh, sorry, I should have shut that. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Okay. I didn't have to do too much movement there.
All right.
Alrighty,
So
righty.
here we go.
Here we go. Season 2.
Season 2, episode 22. Patty. Season 2, episode 22. Peggy's Turtle Song.
Peggy's Turtle Song. Yeah. Here we go.
I did not remember this episode.
I didn't remember it really. I remembered bits and pieces of it because I remember Bobby being on Adderall.
Right.
I remember that, like
He
where he
had the
sniffs
ADD.
and the ADD, and he sniffs the milk.
That's right.
That's one thing I do remember.
He does. Yeah, well, there's 2 instances of that in this thing. So we start this episode with there's all kinds of hand gestures going on.
Well, I was trying to get him to cut the other mic just
I
in
get
case
it.
I didn't want any
Sure.
feedback.
So we start the episode in the Hills kitchen, and Bobby is having a bowl of Grandma's oatmeal crunch cereal.
Yeah.
And he's really
Good
enjoying
cereal.
it because he says, Grandma, you put the cookies back in breakfast.
Yeah, he does enjoy it. He enjoys it a little too much, I think.
Here comes Peggy, just as Bobby's finishing up with his Grandma's oatmeal crunch cereal. She said, "Oh my goodness, this time the time I am field tripping in an hour, and I can't remember any good songs for the bus." Now, what does that John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt do again? And Bobby says he goes out, people shout, not a whole lot more is known about him.
Yeah, I like that too.
She says, "I'm sorry, honey, but I don't have time to cook you breakfast. Here, promise me you'll eat 2 bowls. It is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, it is.
2 bowls
Two
of this
bowls
sugar-coated cereal.
of
So
this
that
sugar-coated
now we're up to
cereals.
3 bowls, right? 3 bowls of this stuff.
Yep.
He is then left by himself. He slurps down 2 more, expresses his love for Grandma again. In comes Hank as Bobby is cleaning out his bowl once again and says, "Morning, son. Did your mom have time to cook you breakfast before she left?" He said, "Nope." He goes, "Oh, geez, we got any cereal?" He goes, "I believe we do."
I got a second breakfast story for you. So when we lived in England, me and my older sister, she used to walk me to school.
Right.
And we lived on the same street as our grandma. She lived like 5 houses
Wait, you said
down.
your sister?
Yeah, me and my sister.
Shout out to your sister. No bell, no yell in this one.
Different sister, but yeah,
okay.
we'll shout out to that sister
Same
too.
sister,
Yeah,
different bell.
same mom, different dads.
Gotcha,
sister.
gotcha.
Yeah. But so we would walk down the street. We would eat breakfast. My mom cooked us a good breakfast.
Sure.
And then we would walk down the street.
Bangers and mash.
And then bangers and mash. And then we would go down, and my sister would she would pinch me too, and she would say, "Don't you tell her we ate breakfast." And we would go down there, and she would tell my grandma that we didn't eat breakfast.
Oh, you'd get a second
And then we'd
breakfast.
get a second breakfast.
Ah, did
So
your
we'd
grandma
eat
fix a
twice.
big breakfast?
Not as
Yeah. Not as big.
big as mom's, but it was
So you
still.
get your
it
bangers
was-
and mash, and then your bowl of mush.
Well, my favorite part of Grandma's breakfast was the Earl Grey tea.
Oh,
I really liked because she would sweeten it up with a little bit of sugar.
it
So
would have
was
been
like
really
it was
sweet
like
had
a
you said
sweet.
my favorite part of Grandma's breakfast was Grandma.
It was Grandma,
That would have been really sweet.
or it would have been Jeffrey Dahmer-esque. It
That's true,
might have
too.
went the other way on that one.
So Hank looks at the cereal and he goes, "What is that? Oatmeal? Ugh, I better put some sugar on it."
Yeah,
so
you better put
he
some
puts a
sugar on
bunch
it.
of sugar on it.
On it, yeah.
We then get we're transitioning to Tom Landry Middle School where Bobby is in class. The teacher is now, as all you know, Mother's Day is coming up, so we're inserting that because that becomes part of this episode. It says, and I thought it might be fun to talk about some famous moms throughout history and Bobby is as wired as you'll ever see Bobby on this show.
Yeah, he's tuned in. Yeah, he's
like-
yeah.
He's like throughout history, and he goes owned, and she goes, and I thought it. He goes own slaves. She goes no. What I was going to say. She goes yes. What I was going to say. We heard the preview. Now let's get the feature. Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
He is freaking out.
Yeah, he is.
So
He's
she
zonked.
sends him to the nurse. We then go to the nurse, and she is talking to Hank. And she says, "Mr. Hill, I've diagnosed your son with attention deficit disorder. He's probably had it for years." Hank's like, "What?" And I guess because Peggy is on a field trip, that's why she's not there, right?
I think so. Yeah.
He goes, "Well, how come nobody ever noticed this before?" She said, "Very few people have access to the pamphlets I do," which I thought was hilarious. She goes, "Here, take one," gives it to him. He goes, "I've noticed the boy's mind wander sometimes when I'm lecturing him. A mental disorder would explain that."
Yeah.
She says, "Personally, I recommend putting him on one of the many popular ADD medications now available." He says, "I don't like the idea of putting my boy on drugs. Isn't there some kind of operation?" He would rather them operate on him than give him drugs.
than give him drugs.
She says, "Your only other option is to send him to a special school across town. He'll have to wear a uniform. Can he button his own shirt?" And then what I didn't understand is Hank just goes, "You bastards." I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's funny, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. We are back at the Hill House, and we are once again. This is a setup for this has happened a lot here recently, where Peggy and Hank are in bed discussing something, right, or getting ready for bed discussing something, and he says Ritalin, Silert, Tofranol, Disparamine.
All sounds like goofathol to me.
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying, right? my note I wrote down was more goofathol.
You know, I think this is also
That's his go-to.
It also speaks on that era too, because I was one of those kids that was a little,
Bouncing all over the room.
Well, it was mainly just because I would finish my work early and I'd be bored,
Sure,
so
right.
I would cut up or whatever. And I don't know how many parent-teacher conferences I heard the words, "Maybe you should
Goofathol.
consider medication for your son."
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I heard it, but my dad, like,
It's almost like they were getting paid to pass it out.
I think
one
so.
point,
At
you
one
know?
point, it feels like this because the schools were pushing it really, really hard. And I remember like kids that got put on it, like it completely just zombified some of them. Like it made it to where they couldn't even like
Oh, sure.
function. Period. Not it didn't like not even like put them to a point where it helps them because it does help some kids, but to a point where it completely just like they just couldn't do anything.
I think I've told you this before, but you know, I used to teach, and
Yeah.
I had one kid that in his behavior plan said keep him awake 2 days a week. So I mean, he was on so much medication that the goal for his education was keep him awake 2 days a week
Wow.
out of 5.
Wow.
So 3 days a week he could sleep.
That's crazy.
And
it's
know-
crazy to think that like becomes an accepted status quo.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I
Yeah.
mean, somebody had to write that down and go, "Yep, that's it."
Just wake him up as long as it's only 2. Don't wake him up the third day. Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
pick a day.
There's a
maybe
reason.
Friday.
There are many, many reasons I'm not in education anymore.
Yeah, you know that's a big one.
And you know, honestly, this is funny, this exchange, but it kind of does reflect why maybe some of this stuff was happening, because mothers were out of the house at this point. You know,
Yeah, it was the revolution.
2
of
jobs,
leaving the house.
2-job households, all that kind of stuff. Lots of latchkey kids. We were talking about
Yeah, the
latchkey
80s and
kids and all
90s,
that.
yeah.
She says, Peggy says, "What if this is all my fault?" So see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like people start reflecting and thinking it was their
And
fault,
blaming
and they were screwing up
themselves,
their
yeah.
kids. Yeah. She goes, "A mother should be there for her baby when he's in trouble, not halfway across town." Oh, sure, I'm a hot shot substitute teacher, but sometimes I don't even have time to make my own son breakfast.
A hot shot.
Yeah. He
Highly sought after.
Hank says, well, it is called attention deficit disorder. Maybe the boy's not getting enough attention. That's not what it means, Hank.
No.
Peggy says, sometimes I think I should just quit my job and devote myself full time to being a mother. But, oh, you know, what am I saying? Quit my job? That's crazy talk. Peggy wants to quit her job. That's what I got out of this.
We assume that's what we're getting out of this.
Hank says, now, wait a minute, Peggy. Crazy is a very strong word. You're just thinking out loud. Bobby is crazy.
Bobby is
Every
crazy.
chance he gets to crap on Bobby, he really does it.
Yeah, I don't understand it as a dad. I don't understand why he would, like every corner he turns, he's
He
trying
just
to
doesn't
squash it.
do things the way Hank wants him to do. So he's a crapper. She says, but I couldn't turn my back on my career like that. Career. It's a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
He says, I tell you what, Peggy, my own mom never worked in her life. Home, that's what mattered to her. And she just kept making it stronger every day until the divorce. Which is a good joke.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
Peggy says, well, I will save some money on faculty room football pools, and I can get another year out of these classes. It's a wonderful line.
That's funny. I thought
She
that
says,
was
maybe
a
we
good
can
one.
try it a little while for Bobby's sake. Hank, if you support me on this, baby, I'll do it. And so this is what's going to happen. She's going to quit her job, and she's going to take care of Bobby full time. Next thing we see is the next morning at home, and we're in Bobby's room. Hank is in there with him, and he's trying to explain the medication to him. And so he says, now the main thing is not to worry. What you have is, well, technically they call it a disease. Bobby is kind of surprised. He says, a disease? He says, yeah, but not a regular disease like you get in your body. It's a much more rare disease in your brain. Now, I know we've talked a lot about how you should never do drugs, but from now on, you'll be taking medication after every meal.
Oh, wow. Ugh.
Bobby says, so do I smoke it, snort it, what? He says, it's a pill, Bobby. He
It's
goes,
a
okay,
pill,
well,
Bobby.
I guess I just pop it then.
I just
He
pop
goes,
it.
You will not pop it. You will place it in your mouth. So
That's
Hank
funny.
does not want him to do drugs, but as
No,
long
he
as it's
doesn't.
ADD medication, we're good.
Magication.
Magication. Next day, we are in the kitchen, and Luanne is just kind of staring at Bobby like that he's off in Never Never Land.
Yeah,
And
because he looks tuned in.
she says, Bobby, do you know who I am? I'm Luanne. Remember? It's just so
Yeah.
derogatory to
It is
somebody who's taking this
derogatory.
stuff. Hank says he has ADD, Luanne. He didn't get hit in the head with a
A
coconut.
coconut.
Here comes Peggy. She's making big kissing sounds on Bobby, and she says, here you go, my little angel. Now that I'm not working, I had time to make you pancakes, and we've got eggs and bacon arranged in one of 3 facial expressions, depending on your mood. I wrote down happy, sad, and meh in bacon and eggs. So that's my note here. Hank says, well, I guess I'll take happy as in happy about this old-fashioned family breakfast. Bobby says, I had better go sooner. I'm going to miss my bus. And then poor Peggy, she's pulling muffins out of the oven. She says, oh, but I made, and then Hank interrupts and says, well, Bobby, this is it. You're going to take your, and here's the thing. He says, you're going to take your first pill now. Luanne is already talking to him like he's a zombie, and he hadn't even taken the first pill yet. And this stuff takes a little bit to kick in, too.
Yeah.
He says, Bobby.
Well, somebody who's taken Adderall before, it definitely takes like 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes before. That's any medication. It takes like 30 or 40 minutes for your body to digest it.
He says, Bobby, you're going to take your first pill now, and in about half an hour, so right on track, you should find yourself real interested in stuff that would normally bore the pants off of you.
Yeah.
Bobby says, round and round it goes. Where he eats it, nobody knows. He does a magic trick and pulls the pill out of Hank's ear.
Hank's ear. Yeah. Just pop
the pill, Bobby. And then the next thing we see, he is on the bus with his friend and Joseph.
Feeling anything yet?
And then you see him look over.
And there's a fly sitting there.
There's a fly. And he can hear the fly's legs. He can hear the wings. He can hear the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got tuned in.
And that is kind of the way those things are.
Yeah.
We're back at the Hill House, and Peggy is having tea with ladies that I've never seen.
Yeah,
and I don't think we ever see again. She says, anyway, and then after I sent him off to school, I did a bunch of errands, and I still had time to submit a quotable quote to Reader's Digest. Do you ever read Reader's Digest? I think we've had this discussion.
I actually did used to read Reader's Digest.
I always liked Reader's Digest.
I like to read the jokes. I always read the jokes and the anecdotes.
So her quotable quote is, some people like to stay as busy as a bee, but I like to stay as busy as a bee plus. Great stuff.
That's definitely a
she laughs at her own joke,
Peggyism.
which is what I like about it. And she says, oh, but I almost worry I have too much time now. The ladies start speaking up, and they're like, that can be a problem, Peg. Myself, I clip coupons. I think we all go a little crazy without coupons. And then the craziest, insane laughs come from the ladies who are talking about clipping coupons. And Peggy finds herself in the midst of a bunch of crazy people.
Yep.
And she says, oh, that is funny. We take a commercial break right there, and we will go take a commercial break where I believe you will hear one of the fan-submitted commercials.
Hello. Do you suffer from migraines, stiff neck, tension headaches? Come see me, John Redcord, your licensed New Age healer. I'll help you get rid of that. Thank you. This has been my ad.
We are back. We are at home with Bobby after work/school is what I have written down here because it's everybody in the living room. They've got the checkers out. Bobby is staring at one individual checker, and he says there are 96 ridges on every checker except this one.
Like he's counted the ridges.
He's counting all the ridges.
Well, he doesn't even have to count them. He's so tuned in. He just runs his finger across the edge. Ooh, 94. What happened to the 2 missing ridges? The world will never know.
Hank comes in and he says, family game time. I love it. So how was your day, Peggy? She goes, well, I bought an ice cube tray and then I took it back. He says, well, I'll tell you what, I think I may get out the guitar and have a family sing-along tonight, just like we used to that one time.
Yeah, that one time.
I just wrote down guitar with exclamation point.
Yeah, and then he ends up at the guitar store. Or not at the guitar store, but he tells Peggy he's got to drop by Earl's so he can get Betsy some new strings.
Yeah, old Earl, who's a laugh riot.
The laugh riot Earl, yeah.
Yeah. Peggy says, you're leaving the house? He goes, you don't have to come, Peggy. I'm sure that you had a full... And by the time he gets these words out, she's already in the car honking saying,
the horn.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It has been one day.
One day, yeah.
And Peggy is freaking out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I never really saw... As it says in the next line, she says, let's go. And... I don't. Who is it that speaks next?
So we're at Earl's now.
Oh yeah, Earl's.
And Earl is saying, it's
never
funny,
saw Peggy as a stay-at-home type.
I want to make an observation here. I didn't even realize this until this episode for some reason. Peggy always still wears Hank's letter jacket.
Yeah. She does.
It's crazy.
She wears a lot, actually. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, the jacket that she wears, like as a regular jacket, sometimes is
the letter
Hank's
jacket.
Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
I like this part right here too, because Hank goes, "Well, she's got 2 full-time jobs now, wife and mother." It's so condescending.
He says it's longer hours and less pay, but you don't hear me complaining.
Yeah.
And we see Peggy over there. She's knocking on a tuning fork. She's making the metronome tick. You can tell that Peggy has a lot of she needs to burn off a lot of energy. She then sees a take a tab thing for guitar lessons on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, ooh, and takes one of the tabs. And so now we that's foreshadowing as to what's going to happen next. Next scene is we're at the Casa Villa Apartments, and we have a girl with green hair and a nose stud who has an apartment of probably a 20-ish-year-old girl, college type atmosphere.
Yeah.
A lot of blacklight posters.
And again, I really don't even think it's that young of a person. To me, it feels like what you would consider an alternative millennial of today.
Yeah.
She feels like she's
maybe
like
so.
middle-aged herself, or the early stages of middle age, like leaving her 20s.
Right. So this is the girl with the green hair talking. She says, so you know a few chords already, huh? And Peggy says, oh, yes, I picked up a couple for my husband. And that, is that a tattoo?
Is that a tattoo? Yeah, she gasps.
She says, yeah, do you like it? She
Do
goes,
I like it?
Oh, my. So what makes you want to play music, Peggy? She says, well, my husband and I recently had to make a choice between our child and my career, and it's left me with some time to fill. She goes, oh, filling time. She goes, yeah, that's what I thought I was doing when I started playing music. Turned out I was really looking for a voice to scream with.
Yeah, and then Peggy goes, well, I don't know if my husband would appreciate screaming in the house, but let's see. And
It's
she just
so
lets out
weird.
just
She
like a
screams
really like
so loud, and she goes, well, he
a
might
belt
have to
buster.
get used to it, and then she screams again. All right, we are back at home in the kitchen, in the Hill kitchen, and everybody is making something with some dough. I just wrote down making something with dough, Luanne rolling. So everybody in the room is making something with some dough.
Yeah.
Bobby is sitting there like a zombie, and he just kind of sniffs and goes, there's some milk in the fridge. It's about to go bad.
There it goes.
It goes. Luanne.
I wish I had those miracle smart pills.
I wish I had those miracle smart pills. We're back out in the alleyway with the boys, and Hank says, the way Peggy's been baking, there won't be windows in our house that don't have a pie cooling on it.
I
I'll
tell you, family values are family values are in again at the Hill house. Yeah, you're a lucky man, Hank.
Bill says, yeah, you're a lucky man, Hank. My ex-wife, she was a careerist. That's not a word. He said, and one day I had to say to her, honey, make a choice. It's either me or the motivational poster industry. So like the hang in there, baby, with the cat.
Yeah.
Or the ones that say leadership. and
Or the
have, like,
ones
an
where they have
eagle
like
on
a
it or
milk
something.
mustache and it says "Got milk."
Oh, I don't know about that. Is that a leadership poster? I guess for milk people.
For the milk industry.
For the milk
well, that's what it
industry.
is. Got milk ads are motivational ads to sell milk.
True.
Because we have large caves in portions of the United States that are filled with barrels and rounds of cheese.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The cheese caves.
I thought you were going to say milk.
No.
I knew about the cheese
Well,
caves.
that's the milk. Of course, we all know milk is a solid that comes from milk, or cheese is a solid that comes from milk. Sorry.
Okay.
And milk is in the process of cheese, and that's the thing with the dairy farm, the dairy market is when they have an overabundance of milk.
Mm-hmm.
In order to keep that milk, they turn it into cheese.
Oh, okay.
So if they're overproducing milk, that the overproduction of milk gets turned into cheese. So then you have an overproduction of cheese. And then you have large cheese caves where they store all this government cheese. You didn't have like a poor friend in school that like would get the big blocks of government cheese or anything
I know
like
what
that?
you're talking about. Yeah.
My dad remembers he remembers getting big blocks of government cheese. So so they have like these stores that are just filled, like these underground caves that store all this cheese, and it's literally like the amount of cheese that's in there or not in there fluctuates on the price or demand and supply of milk.
Wow.
It's one of those late night documentaries on nothing.
I have a comeback for you.
Okay.
I went home yesterday and my wife had bought macaroni and cheese in a like a little self-contained bowl.
Yeah.
Right. So it's shelf stable. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't macaroni and cheese. It was cereal.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like one of the little cereal bowls that you see, right?
Mhm.
But now they have it with powdered milk. So you just add water to this, and you've got cereal and milk.
So are they just trying to see how worse
But that's kind of
they
genius, though,
could
right?
make it? I guess
I mean,
so,
I
yeah.
know it's not going to taste great, but I'm just saying it is kind of genius, though, that you just add water to it instead of adding milk. You add some water, you got cereal and milk.
All I know is you guys are making me really hungry.
That is the voice of Mason, who is.
You can have
producing
another
our
candy
show
bar.
today.
I have another one to give you. Yeah, you can have this candy bar.
Oh,
here.
by the way, do we want to mention that? Because we did
well.
our Friday episode before we did this episode, and we want to mention Artie sending
yeah,
us
Artie
the
sent us some
candy.
candy.
Curly Whirlies.
Mason, if you do want the rest of these are ones that Mike ripped off. If you want to finish what's
Wait,
left
what?
of it, it's the one you ripped off of.
Oh.
Yeah, I was letting him know we weren't
What's
eating
this
them
one?
like candy bar. It's
Oh,
the one I
both
ripped
of
off
them?
of, but
Oh,
I've eaten
okay.
like 3 of them today. So
Yeah, if you want these, you are more than welcome to some curly. It may just be whirly. Is what's left. in
yeah,
there. I
all
don't
that's
know
left
if
is
the curlies are still here.
it might be the that's all that's left.
I'll
We
see
did-
how I feel when this is over.
We did we did talk about Curly Whirlies and the niceness of Artie to send these to us.
Yeah, we did
in our
on
Friday
on
episode.
the Friday episode that you'll hear.
But this one
on the
comes
Friday
out
episode.
before Friday, so
It
we need to
does.
thank Artie again.
recorded after the Friday episode, but it comes out before the. I mean, look,
Yeah.
we're tangling the.
And then
web
there's
here.
milk in caves.
and there's milks and caves.
So we
Not your mom's cave either.
your mom's cave. Dale pops up and says, "You know what the root of the problem is, don't you? Feminism. Gloria Steinbrenner, not her name. That's what started it. Gerald Ford should have killed her when he had the chance."
Okay, so who is Gloria Steinbrenner?
Well, Gloria Steinbrenner is not a person.
Oh, okay.
Gloria Steinem
Oh, Stein
was the person that they often say started feminism.
Okay, like in that era of feminism or feminism as a whole?
Feminism in the 60s,
Ah, I
late
got
50s,
you.
60s.
The bra burning era.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, George Steinbrenner was a baseball manager.
Okay.
He was the
so-
guy, I
so he
believe, that
mixed
owned
up-
the Yankees.
So he mixed up 2 names and
He
then added
mixed up-
Gerald Ford.
Yeah, he mixed up. So Gloria Steinbrenner should have been killed by Gerald Ford when he had the chance.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Here comes the green-haired girl. She says, "Hey, I'm looking for the Hill House." He goes, "The Hank Hill House?" She says, "The Peggy Hill House. I'm her guitar teacher." Hank says, "Oh, just go right around the front." Dale speaks up and said, "I thought you said family values were in at your house." Bill says, "Yeah, Hank, that girl there, she's dressed kind of pro-choice."
Yeah, that's one of those.
It's a great line.
That is a great line.
All right, we're in the kitchen, and it's green-haired girl who I don't believe gets a name, right?
I don't think she gets a name
Emily.
though. Actually,
What?
Emily's her name.
Oh,
Her name is Emily. You're right.
Mason.
And actually, we'll go ahead and hit
Mason
some
with the
trivia
slam
here.
dunk.
Yeah, that is a slam dunk. Actually, with the trivia, we'll go ahead and
Yeah,
let me
please.
pull up Artie's trivia piece he gave me here. Okay, so Emily is
Hang
actually.
on 1 second. Don't you think Artie's trivia piece needs like an intro?
like an official introduction for Artie's trivia.
Artie's trivia piece.
Well, what I want to start doing is what we might do, because with Twitter Spaces, if I Bluetooth my phone to
Oh, yeah, you
the,
could,
the
absolutely.
board, I think we'll
Yeah.
do that next time,
Yeah.
and that way I could hit and it'll allow him to kind of interject, kind of like Mike Chisholm does for the people out in California.
Yeah.
And speaking of tennis, like we were talking about in the episode I just recorded with you for y'all's Jennifer
Milk
Love
and
Hewitt
Caves, sure.
podcast.
Yeah. JLH, please be on our
She actually, Jay and Nicole actually used to be the publicist for Serena Williams. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, when Serena retired from tennis, Nicole had posted some thank you
So
stuff on there.
anybody that's listening to this is going to be severely confused.
Yeah, I'm just
Because-
as confused as they are.
Because we did the Friday episode before this episode.
yes,
We then did an episode of Jennifer Love Hewitt, Please Be on Our Podcast.
yeah, we did that one.
And we talked about tennis in that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're bringing that it's like we're breaking the fourth and fifth wall here.
Well, maybe even the sixth and seventh wall somewhere in there too, because I'm mentioning that's like 1, 2,
then there's the
3,
government conspiracy of
4,
milk
5
and
different
caves.
podcasts all in one we just discussed there. Yeah.
So excuse us for mixing
So back
up
to
our podcast.
back to Emily. So Emily is actually voiced by Annie DeFranco. And,
Oh, really? Oh, I
just to
didn't
go
realize
ahead
that.
and knock out the rest of the trivia, the voice trivia.
Yeah.
Tilly Hill in this one is voiced by is it
Tilly Hill.
Tilly? Hank Hill's mom.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Hank Hill's mom, and
She comes
she's
in
voiced by a famous female country singer, Tammy Wynette.
Wow.
So she plays Hank's mom, and then again, Carl Reiner does the Gary Kasner voice.
Who comes in later also.
Yeah, he comes in later.
So, Emily, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Also, something I meant to add at the very, very beginning. So when this
Rusty's
episode
Edition.
first aired,
Yeah.
following the episode, but before the credits,
Okay.
there was an informational
Really?
about ADD.
Really?
We got to think at this time,
Oh,
ADD was
shoot.
like just
Yeah, I guess
being,
so.
it was just like kids were just getting heavily
Yeah.
diagnosed.
Yeah.
Before it was just, hey, your kid needed his ass whooped. Now they give an explanation for
I
it.
did
and it's
not
ADD.
realize that makes
It's that
total
era.
sense.
That's
yeah.
that era. Like
Yeah.
I remember so many kids being prescribed that stuff that I went to school with around that time frame in the 90s and stuff. Because instead of because it was around the time that corporal punishment ended.
Yeah.
They couldn't beat kids no more into submission, so they drugged them into submission instead. Where your unruly kids before, you could rap them over the knuckles with a ruler or whoop their ass in class or whatever it may be.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So now,
Give 'em a pill.
Give them the pill.
Give them the pill. She
Whether they have
says,
ADD or not.
"Yeah, no kidding."
Yeah,
right?
whether they have
Yeah.
ADD
Just
or not.
slow
Yeah,
them down.
if
you
you're
need to,
if you're
yeah.
a slightly hyperactive kid, let's just go just give him one.
So Emily is in the kitchen with Peggy, and she says, "Here's one for practicing." And you said you wanted stuff with strong lyrics. Peggy says, "Yep, that's right, but no cursing and no cop killing. I'm sorry, but that's just how I was raised."
Yeah,
So this is about the time of Cop Killer. Remember that song?
yeah. But actually, this is around the time there was a lot of that kind of related music going on.
But there was specifically a song called Cop Killer.
by Ice-T, right?
It was by Ice-T.
Yeah.
I
thought that was earlier than this Cop Killer.
well,
That was like 94.
maybe.
Well, there was a sentiment in.
He's checking it out.
Well, there was a sentiment in because rap still at that point now it's number one genre of music
Sure.
nationally, internationally.
Right.
Where nationally used to be country music. Country
Right.
music finally got beaten out by hip hop and rap. And at this era, there was a lot of that cop killing, fuck the police, Public Enemy, and Chuck D. They had a song out about
That was way earlier though.
that was way earlier. That
Yeah.
was like early 90s.
What was the year?
1992.
92.
yeah.
Okay.
But it was the
What-
same feel.
what
Like
was-
we're coming out of that era, though. You know?
What was the band name that did that?
No, it was Ice-T, and the album Body Count.
Yeah, it was the album Body Count. Yeah, Body Count.
So Body Count was also the name of the band he was in, right?
He was in a
and,
group. Yeah, he was in a little group. I don't know what the name of it was.
The only reason I say that is because I saw them at the first Lollapalooza tour.
Oh, when they performed that song there, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, it was.
They were all
in
on the
San
FBI
Antonio.
watch lists.
Wait, what?
The band was called Body Count.
Yeah,
Body
there we
Count.
go. There we
Well,
go.
that's the thing with all that early rap music. All of them were like under investigation
It
by the
was-
FBI all the time and stuff. Like it was a lot of enraged middle-aged white folks.
Sure.
Yeah.
I ended up. It was Body Count, Jane's Addiction. There were a lot of really
That's
good
a
bands
lineup,
at that thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a
That's
good
not bad.
lineup. Yeah, it was a hell of a time. Green Day was there. Anyway. it
Yeah,
was a
you
big
know,
deal.
I went back and did like research on Green Day,
Yeah.
just Googling them
Sure.
one day for whatever reason, and I had no clue that they had started like
Oh, dude.
in the
It was
early 80s.
Yeah, it was early.
I had no clue that they're like straight out of this, like 1979, like by 82
Yeah.
or 83. I had no clue they were that old of punk rockers.
They started
because
real.
everybody calls them like soft punk rock, but no, they really started
well,
like they come from that era.
They started real early, and then when the album Dookie hit is the one that really
Blew 'em
you know,
up.
Yeah, caused them
Yeah,
to blow
basket
up.
case and all that stuff on there. Yeah.
So they are in there talking, but she does not want any cursing or cop killing because that's just the way she was brought up. Emily says, maybe you ought to try writing a song of your own, Peggy. I bet a woman in your situation would have a lot to say. And Peggy says, well, what situation is that? She says, well, having to give up your life's work to make things easier for the rest of your family. Peggy's like, yeah, I suppose a situation like that should make me want to sing. Come to think of it, yesterday, oddest little tune popped into my head. It's sort of silly, but, well, you'll tell me if there's something to it. She clears her throat, And this is one of the only times we hear Peggy sing, right? Like, Peggy doesn't sing a lot in this show.
Nah, Peggy doesn't sing a lot at all. Sorry, Peggy. Peggy does not sing at all that I know
Yeah.
of. Well, no, she is. Maybe not sing, but she does get known to be a songwriter because she gets pissed off about Randy Travis
That's true.
stealing one of her songs.
I forgot about that. So she sings the song. There once was a turtle that lived in her shell.
The shell was her home
and her
prison as well. What is that tune? There once was a turtle that lived in a shell.
It's the
I
turtle
don't know.
song.
Yeah, the turtle song.
Emily says, whoa, there's definitely something to that. And Peggy's like, really? Well, thank you. You know, I had a feeling it was very, very good. Not just one very, it was two very's good.
Yeah.
So Emily is leaving, and Peggy says, okay, every girl band deserves funding. Great. I will remember that. So this obviously is something that Emily has passed on to her. Hank says, so your guitar teacher looks pretty interesting. And by interesting, I mean weird. And Peggy says, well, she is weird. And by weird, I mean interesting, which I love that exchange right there.
Yeah.
She says, I invited her over for dinner tomorrow. Hank's like, what? Now, why in the world would you do something like that? Peggy says, well, because she has a tattoo, Hank. Don't you think a girl like that could use a home-cooked meal? So I'm assuming you're a ne'er-do-well if you have a tattoo.
Yeah, I guess so.
So we transition to dinner where Emily's there, and she says, you know, Emily, Hank plays guitar too. He has a Guild Solid Top 1963.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Emily says, wow, so how come you're practicing on that
this
old
plywood
plywood
one,
Peggy?
Oh, I wouldn't think of touching Betsy.
Betsy is the name of the guitar.
Betsy is the name of the guitar.
Hank says, yep, it's one of my most precious possessions. And Emily says, oh, that's interesting. And then we get Bobby yawning, asking when his next pill is. Peggy says, not until after dinner, honey. He goes, I'm going to take a little nap, please. And I just wrote down that Bobby goes to sleep with his eyes wide open.
Yeah, he just said
Right there
like
at the tail. He's just, yeah.
It's them pills, yeah.
Hank says, so, Emily, Peggy tells me you've been helping her write music, working with her and putting ideas in her head and such. She goes, you know, I was thinking about that turtle song of yours. If you come up with more verses, you can sing it at my Mother's Day recital. Peggy's like, you mean in front of people? Oh, well, I do miss performing. That's what a teacher is, you know, just a performer. It's one of the reasons children love school. She says, yeah, that the recital's a pretty casual thing. Me and some of my students take over the back room at Earl's, drink some wine, play some songs, and just kind of take a little pot shot at the holiday. Hank says, well, why in the world would anybody would take a pot shot at Mother's Day? She says, well, it is kind of bizarre, don't you think? The greeting card companies invented this holiday in 1914, and now the whole country celebrates another stereotype of what women are supposed to be. Hank says, you're not married, are you, Emily? Peggy says, so, this recital, what time would it be? Hank's like, don't answer that. We already have plans for Mother's Day. Peggy's starting an exciting new life as a homemaker, and to celebrate, we're having brunch. Peggy says, but brunch can be almost any time, can it? I mean, that's the magic of brunch. Hank says, but not just brunch either. It's going to be a whole day where you won't have to lift a finger. Just let us take care of everything. Emily, kind of stoking the fire here, says, so she won't have to use her brain at all then. Hank's like, yep, that's right.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Ugh.
Oh,
and
wow.
then Peggy comes back with, oh, well, Bobby, it's time for your next pill. And Bobby's like snoring with his eyes open, and he just sticks his tongue out to accept the pill.
The accepting of the pill.
Later, we are in the living room with Peggy with the guitar, and she is singing her song. She says, the turtle got frightened and wanted to hide, so she tucked her head into safety inside. Hank is literally shivering every time she sings a bar of this song.
Yep, and she notices it,
yeah, he's trying to read the Arlen Bystander, and he's just shaking his paper the whole time.
He's getting upset.
He goes, she goes, Hank, you are groaning every time I sing a line. He's like, oh, am I? I'm sorry. She says, do you like my song? He says, well, to tell you the truth, I'm not so sure I get it. She said, there's nothing to get. It's a song about a turtle.
A turtle, yeah.
And that's literally what it is.
That's what it is.
She means nothing by this.
Well, until she finds out the turtle's name. But yeah, let's go ahead.
Hank says, yeah, but I think I know something about music.
Haven't listened to it a lot.
That makes sense. I know something
You need to
about
put
baseball.
something
I've watched
upbeat in
a
there.
game.
Yeah, I'm a professional baseball player because I watched 6 games last week.
He says, and I tell you one thing, you need to put something upbeat in there. She says, upbeat? No, that would never work in this song. He said, sure it would. You just tack something on at the end where it all works out. For instance, the girl could meet a guy turtle, fall in love. See, then the song's really about something. Can't you see that? She says, Oh, please. That's an old-fashioned. That's really old-fashioned, Hank. He says, yes, old-fashioned as in good. And this is one of the few times that they really get into a fight.
Yeah.
Like, this is almost a yelling match, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We transition into Bobby and the dog just kind of sitting there, and they both perk up at the same time, and Bobby goes, Luanne's home, and then they both get up and take off, like Bobby and the dog. Hank says, I just don't understand why you have to keep singing that depressing turtle song. She says, I don't know either, Hank, but I do. I feel very strange lately. Last night I dreamt we had 20 children.
Peggy, you know I can't give you more children.
He's literally whispering.
Urethra.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Hank, I don't think that's what it meant at all. He says, well, forgive me, but I don't know what anything means anymore. I thought we agreed to take a big step backwards together, but it sounds like you'd rather play punk music with your hippie friend on boring old Mother's Day. She says, well, it is my day. I should be able to do whatever I want. He goes, no, not whatever you want. You can't kill a man. Then you'd end up in prison. And with that attitude, as she goes off, they'll put you in the hole. Peggy
with that
slams
attitude,
the
they'll
door.
put you in the hole.
Put you in the hole.
Imagine talking to your wife like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I'd be on the couch hungry. I'd be sitting on the couch very hungry.
Wow. So next we get Hank on the phone with his mother. He says, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I wish I was there to shake your hand in person. She says, so where are you and the kids having brunch today? Luli's? Jobo's? This is the first time I've ever heard of Jobo's.
Yeah, it's the first time I heard of Jobo's too. So that might be something that comes up in one of our Friday episodes.
He says, we're not doing brunch, Mom. Peggy decided she'd rather go to a rock concert. She says, on Mother's Day? Why? He goes, I don't know. Peggy's just not like you, I guess. You devoted your whole life to raising me, and let's be honest, you loved every second
Yeah,
of
Hank's
it.
so funny. And then she's like, well, Hank, Tammy Wynette.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, Hank, I took odd jobs, as often as I could just to get out of the house. Don't you remember that year I drove a taxi? No. Oh, wait a minute. I remember you had a yellow car when I was little. Oh, Hank, I got to go. Gary's here with my Mother's Day present. But wait, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I love you, honey. Bye. And then we get Gary nude, standing in the kitchen being blocked by a chair so you don't see his withered member.
Yes.
He says,
Withered member.
He says, he says, I hope you like it. I can't return it. Now we're in the bathroom for some reason with Bobby and Luanne. Luanne says, I tried to study for my beauty exam, but I couldn't concentrate. And then I tried to figure out why, and I got bored.
Yeah.
Bobby says, you must have caught my ADD. I know when, too. It was the time I sneezed in your face. She goes, oh, I don't remember that. He goes, well, you were asleep.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
That is creepy.
It's a little
Mason
different.
and I talked about that when it happened earlier, whenever we were watching this, and that is
But
very
it's an odd
creepy.
line. It's a very creepy line.
She says, Bobby, I've got a test tomorrow
Hey,
morning.
hold on a second. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mason.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm assuming it's meant to be like he just wanted to play pranks on her
I
while
guess,
she's sleeping.
man.
But
I hope
it
so.
is-
Well,
But it
speaking
does
of
come across as super creepy.
speaking of
yeah.
pranks when someone's asleep, so me and my childhood best friend used to prank each other, and I used to be on the receiving end more often than the giving end on that part because
Right.
I was I grew up in a different way than he grew up, as I had a bedtime
Did you
and
get
I
the
woke
hand in
up
the warm
early.
water?
No, it wasn't that. I would have been glad for hand in warm water. No, it was like muscle rub on your eyelids.
Oh, God. That's not a prank. That's a crime.
Yeah, I shit in his air vent one time in his bedroom. So his whole house, they couldn't figure it out. Their whole entire house smelled like shit literally until that shit dried up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, it got pretty violent sometimes.
Why would you do that? Why would
There was an instance too where I was asleep and got wrapped up in a sleeping bag and then tied up with electrical cord and then thrown into a toy box, completely immobilized.
Dude, this was
for like
this was a
an
war.
hour.
This was not
Yeah,
pranks.
it was sketchy.
Were you actually
sketchy.
friends?
Now
wasn't
that we
even
look
friends,
back
yeah,
on it,
yeah.
yeah, we were. Yeah, we were friends. We were good friends.
Yeah, man, you need to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah, it was wild. I'm pretty sure that was, PTSD,
She says
I have flashbacks of muscle rub.
she says yeah, you just
Not
sit
the
there.
eyelids.
You just can't keep your
You
eyes
can't do
open.
anything. You just have to sit there and literally wait till the burn stops. There's nothing you can do.
So it's just burning the whole time.
the whole time.
So it's
Until
like Bengay in the eyes.
and then once, as soon as the Bengay wears off or whatever, you're fine. But you literally have to wait the entire
Yikes.
time for the
Oof.
Bengay to wear off. And you're scared of being blind, so you just keep your eyes closed the whole time so nothing gets in your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luanne says, Bobby, I got a test tomorrow morning. Excuse me. She goes, I got a test tomorrow morning or afternoon or evening or something. She's freaking out. And she says, Bobby, I need that pill. And she just grabs a pill and takes it. So now Luanne has taken Bobby's ADD medication. There's Adderall, his Goofinol, whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're outside, and Hank is doing something that I think is probably pretty popular in the South. I remember my grandfather doing it. I remember my dad doing it. You get the hose out and you just hose off the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like it's just a pastime for them. I don't know.
Just wasting water.
It is. I don't know why it was bad to have leaves on your driveway, but they did not want them.
They didn't want. Yeah, I don't understand anything to do with. I never really understanded lawn maintenance and all those things. I understand not having 40-foot tall grass in your front yard.
Yeah,
but the
freaking out over your
like
over your
like
yard.
the pattern. Like when I was a kid, if I didn't mow, like I had to mow the grass in certain directions. Like my dad would stand and be like, "All right, you got to go against it." I'm like, well, I don't even know what that means. The grass is
silly.
tall. There's no grain to it. But yeah, you'd have to make specific like patterns so the lines would be all even and smooth.
Well, it's
and
like a
perfect.
baseball field.
Yeah, but it was it was a front yard in Belmead.
So Hank is outside spraying water.
Best front yard though. Like you can go look at their front yard now, and
it's still good.
Yeah, his front yard is on point always.
Right.
Yeah, even in his 60s, he maintains it.
Has he ever gotten like the yard of the month award or anything?
If the neighborhood had something like that, then
Yeah.
he'd probably get it. Yeah.
So Hank's outside and the car approaches, and it's obviously Boomhauer in his hot rod. He said, "Hey man, Hank, I tell you what, man, I don't remember the little old lady right here, man." And it's his mother. Is this the only time we see Boomhauer's mother?
Didn't she pop up again in the wedding?
Oh, maybe.
The wedding episode?
Maybe.
Well, I don't think this is the only time we see her, but this is the first time that we see her for sure. And she's just, I'm talking about the dango. Yeah, just as fast
He
as
says, "Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Boomhauer." She goes, "I tell you what, Hank, I come around here and I did a little old dango brunch. I raised this boy right here, did a little old thing, a little dango day of the year."
You know, and I'm kind of surprised here because it does not say anything about Boomhauer's mother's voice actor.
Really?
And I'm gonna guess. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I just from the way the pitch of the voice, I just had to assume that was just the guy who does the voice.
Mike Judge.
Just
Yeah.
Mike
I
Judge.
think it is.
Just
Mike
doing it
Judge
again.
just pitched. Yeah.
So Boomhauer and his mom speed off. You see Peggy getting into her car with a guitar. Hank goes inside. He opens a beer. And he starts kind of reflecting on all of Peggy's stuff because he doesn't want to fight with Peggy. Neither one of them want to fight with each other.
No.
He looks at, he just kind of looks around. He sees her trophy for a substitute teacher of the year. There is a bumper sticker on the wall that says, "I taught the honor student at Tom Landry Middle School."
Yeah, I saw that. That made me laugh. I taught the honor student.
The honor student.
Which is probably all of them.
So it's just one.
Yeah.
He then looks at Peggy's calendar, and it's full of stuff until she quit her job. Then there's absolutely nothing until you get to the one that's big and red and says the recital, or, says guitar recital. And so it kind of kicks into him, and he's like, this is important. And I knew what was coming. I mean, he's going to the recital. There's no way you get out of that. Those two are joined at the hip forever.
Yeah.
So we're now at Earl's Guitars where the recital is happening. You've got a very angry woman on the stage singing about meeting a guy in boxing class and how she slept with him before she kicked his ass. Yep. The audience is cheering. So you obviously got this pro-feminist crowd.
It's a pro-feminist crowd, but I don't really I don't think that's a pro-feminist message, really.
No, it's really not.
Sleeping with him and then beating his ass.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Cardi B. So Cardi B, back in her days when she was a stripper, /
she used to say she would steal from all of them.
She would steal from them. So she would drug them up.
Yeah.
And then steal all their stuff from them and then leave.
Which I believe Bill Cosby got in trouble for that, but he didn't steal anything.
He didn't have to steal anything. He already had everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was just taking things from other people.
So, and that is not a support of Bill Cosby. I want to make that clear. We are not supporting Bill Cosby or what he did here.
We're not supporting him, but we're not supporting him.
No, I'm just not supporting him.
We're not supporting him.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Neither.
Speaking of that, Curly Whirlies by
Curly
Cadbury.
Whirlies by Cadbury's. Right now, they're running a promotion. If you buy 6 of them, you have a chance to win
Get
a
a copy
free
of
ticket
Ghost
to
Dad.
Legoland. Yeah. Actually, they have a free ticket promotion on these.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
You get to go to Legoland?
For Legoland, Thorpe Park.
Thorpe Park.
Chessington. That sounds very English. Chessington. What does that say? Oh, World of Adventures Resort, and then the
Jeez, that's a lot of words.
Alton Towers. I like the English names. Come on down. Come on down to Thorpe Park. Chessington World of Adventures. In it?
It always feels like there's too many words.
In it? Yeah. There it goes.
So this pro-feminist crowd, they are really hooting and hollering. Peggy says, it's a rowdy crowd. And Emily says, just remember, Peggy, you came here because you have something to say. It might be complex. And Peggy says, yes, turtles are complex. Yes, they are. She says, but when you say something from the heart, it always comes out right. She goes, that was a quotably quoted, my friend. Quotably quoted. So she's a big callback to our quotably quote that Peggy had submitted to the Reader's Digest. The audience is applauding and cheering and all that. Bobby walks up. He says, hi, Mom. Oh, Bobby, honey, what are you doing here? He says, well, we figured today was your special day, and since you're singing a special song, we thought you should have a special guitar to play it on. And he pulls out Betsy, and then they bring Peggy up on the stage. I want to get a lot of support to this next artist, Peggy Hill, everybody. They all start cheering. Peggy's here to sing a song about how a woman feels when the world tells her who she has to be. Peggy's like, no, actually, I'm singing the one about a turtle that's stuck in her shell. Audience cheers and chuckles. So they still think that she's trying to tell this pro-feminist story, through her song.
Yeah.
She goes, I'd like to dedicate this to my husband. The audience starts laughing. She says, then she starts singing her song. There once was a turtle who lived in her shell. The shell was her home and her prison as well. And all the women start whooping and hollering because they think, again, this is about feminism. Peggy is very confused, but she does see Hank in the back. And so, they've connected. Hank starts, he's very confused as to what's going on because they are very matter-of-fact people. If she's singing a song about a turtle, it's just about a damn turtle.
Yeah.
So she sings that, she cheers, she continues singing. One day she got frightened, she wanted to hide, so she tucked her head into the safety inside. And the women are all like, yeah, that's right, sing it, sister.
Sing it, sister.
She says, but then came a moment of terrible doubt. She could not find any head hole to poke out. And
It's an odd line.
Yeah, one of them says, get rid of that control freak, leave him. And then somebody else shouts out, fight corporate white male oppression.
Yeah.
Corporate.
Corporate white male oppression.
I don't know where that comes from. Bobby says to Hank, he goes, I thought the song was just about a turtle, Dad. And Hank says, yeah, I did too. Peggy stops and she goes, I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit flustered. And the crowd is like, wake up, girl, speak your mind. Look what he's doing to you. I got a number. You can do it, Peggy, from the heart. And so she sings the rest of the song, but a miracle saved her. But before her heart sank, the magical love of a turtle named Hank. So
there
we
we
find
go.
out that the turtle is named
Hank.
Yep. She says, thank you. And then the two people in the crowd, they're like,
Hank's got. As soon as he heard his name, man, Hank was all for it then.
oh, sure.
Yeah, he was.
But the
loving
lady in the audience, she's like, yeah, kind of copped out there at the end, didn't she?
it. Yeah.
Hank says, now that girl can write music. So, again, very matter of fact. She's singing about a damn turtle. She mentions Hank. Hank loves it. They're both in love. They stick with each other no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's what we get out of this. They are on their way. Now, I do have a problem with this ending. They are on their way home in the truck, and they are talking to each other. But Peggy took the damn car. So where is it?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, where did
You
she
see
go?
what I'm saying? So the car is still there. She had to
car
leave
is
the car
still
there.
at the club or whatever.
Hank is telling her, he said, maybe the problem is you got too much mother in you. She goes, oh, go on. He says, one kid was plenty for my mom, but you're different. If you're not nurturing 20, 30 kids at once, you start to lose your edge. How's that good for the boy? She says, well, maybe I could try teaching again. He says, sure. And in the meantime, we can keep Bobby on the medicine. I'll tell you, today I really noticed his behavior improve. Bobby's like, I didn't take my medicine today. She says, well, why not, honey? He says, because Luanne needed it badly. And anyway, I can't take the rush anymore. It's too fast. It's like freezy. It's like, ugh. So they pull up. And they pull up at home. Luanne is outside. She is cutting the hedges with a pair of hand scissors very fast. She is in a frenzy at this point. She's like, welcome home. I cooked your brunch. I fixed your car. I fixed your mower. I ate the brunch. She is tweaking.
Yeah,
she's tweaking hard.
Yeah, she's where they call it topiary.
Topiaries.
Yeah,
yeah. And I did write that down. One is
I like that word. I like like we were talking about again in the specific words for specific things like arborist. Does trees. Topiary does bushes.
Molester. No, that's not one of them.
Whoa. But yabba dabba doo, folks. On that note, Wimitanye.
Peggy says, maybe we should read a little more about that medicine, Hank. He goes, yeah, it couldn't hurt. And Luanne is just giggling and dancing and freaking out, man. And that's how we go to the credits. But the hedges are a duck, a rabbit, a squirrel, and a snake.
Wow.
She's hand cut them.
And cut them.
We go to the credits, and the only thing we hear at the end is Bobby going, and there it goes. Vale lined to doing coke. I guess Bobby's doing coke in the back. I don't know. But that's it, man.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a good episode. It once again tells the story of how much they love each other.
Yeah.
How close the family is. Even Bobby, they were trying to do what was right for him. He's going to turn out really screwed up, but they did what they thought was the right thing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But it all came down to him.
It all came down to it, eating too much sugar. But it was kind of funny though, the sniffing the milk from the other room.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Yep, there it went. All right, well that is it. Tell them where they can find us.
They can find us anywhere you get podcasts. Also, you can find us at BWAAAKOTH, Bwaaa, King of the Hill, and that's on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm going to try to start posting a little bit more. I've been lackadaisical. I'm still interacting with people. I'm still posting on Twitter regularly. I'm still commenting on everything that says King of the Hill. I've just been a little lackadaisical on some of the content creation stuff, but I'm going to get y'all some stuff to enjoy, hopefully, this next week.
Well, it's understandable. I think you've been learning a lot about your body recently and going through those stages.
Yeah, I just recently got my first pube hair. That was a thing. We measured it, Well,
this is the second time I'm going to say this today. Merkin. Yeah. That's a specific word for a specific thing.
It's so weird.
A merkin.
It's such a weird.
You can
it
also,
almost sounds like you're saying American.
It does
it's
sound
Merkin.
It's a Merkin. I'm going to say you can also, I got to tell you folks, today has been a long day. We have recorded a lot in the last few hours. And so what you're hearing is the remnants of people that were saying when they walked in the building.
Yeah.
You can also find us at King of the Hill. You can also find us at RogueMediaNetwork.com.
What a Saturday.
And as we record this, the nominations for the Waco Awards have not yet been released.
Yeah, so we don't know yet, guys. But as soon as we know, trust me, I'll if it's before we record and I can't tell you audibly first, I'll definitely post on all social media outlets the second I'm nominated.
They have been being tallied for a week now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Hopefully that process speeds up so we can at least know where we fall.
Well, I started to send them something and say, when is it all coming out? But then I thought,
all the affiliates that are attached to it.
It says your 2022 preliminary votes are being tallied. The finalists for each category will be announced real soon.
Yep.
Thanks for anybody who voted for us, and thanks for anybody who is listening to this still. Hey,
absolutely.
You know what I learned about this week?
What'd you learn?
Completion rates of podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the average completion rate for a podcast is 70-something%, right? Like 71%.
Well, do you know there's only like 125,000 active podcasts
Really?
Something like that. It's like a number that blew my mind. I was like, man, that's really how
Out of
big
like
our market
3
is.
million or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also learned that we have a podcast here, and I have yet to look at our numbers, but we have a podcast here on this network that has hit 90-something% on completion sometimes.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Right? Fiction and true crime are your big categories.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So we're not in a big category.
Those are the ones that complete.
So what category do we fall in?
Non-completers.
No, non-completers.
That's what we're in.
Well, all we have to do to complete is make
Yeah.
it to season 13, episode 23.
That's true. That's true. Or give stuff away. I think people stick around to give stuff away.
Yeah, they do.
One thing
for
we
sure.
did talk about for our Friday episode is we are going to
T-shirt
use
giveaway. I draw
basketballs.
On Instagram, y'all check him out.
Yep. He gave us a design to use. We're going to get some merch going, and we'll let you know when that's available.
It's going to be a Bwaaa KOTH X mashup with I draw basketballs. You know how they do it, like in the
Yeah.
brands, it'll be like brand and then
Yeah.
the X with whatever.
Like that stupid McDonald's thing right now. Have you seen that with the adult Happy Meals?
I ate it.
You ate one?
It's just a Big Mac and a fry in a box.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the same food, right?
It's just a Big Mac and a
Did
fry
you
in a
get the
box.
toy?
I got the toy.
That toy cost you $3.
You just
that's
don't get it, Mr. Mike.
That's the markup. Well, but what I'm saying is,
I'm just saying you don't get it.
what the hell is this brand that they've mashed up with?
I don't know. I'm just
It's
messing with you.
something flea market or whatever. I've never heard of this damn thing. And what they did is they took the McDonald's characters and put an extra set of eyes on them. So now they have 4 eyes. That's it.
People fell for it.
But I'm old. I just don't get it.
Nah, you just don't get it.
I would go buy it if it had a special sauce, like some kind of limited sauce.
Yeah, like
Like the Rick and Morty
Szechuan?
The Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, like the Szechuan sauce.
No.
I would fall for that easily because I love me a condiment. All right, we got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, see you later.
See you later. Wimatanya.
Wimatanya.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.